Hello, and welcome to Shantae's Corner. So, this is my response video to the video Black in North Dakota. So, I've made videos speaking about my disability. You can find those here on my channel, and getting an Uber. That video was pretty recent here. And so the video about being Black in North Dakota, the lady was speaking in regards to, I'll post the video here, but she was speaking about moving for employment, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it, but that's the reason why I left Georgia. I know she mentioned also in her video she moved to Georgia from Florida for a job, but I'm originally from Georgia, and I struggled finding employment. I would get a job, and for me, on top of it, because of my visual impairment, that made it even more challenging. So I had to leave Georgia, where I was in Georgia, Augusta, Georgia. My family's in that area, but in order for me to find employment, I had to leave, and that was hard, because people were like, you shouldn't get off disability, don't do this, don't do that. And so I had opportunities previously to that one to leave Georgia for employment, but because I would tell other people, I got discouraged. So what God had me do was, when I applied for that job, the company I worked for was in North Carolina. So I flew to North Carolina, interviewed for the job, and I got the job in California. And God was like, don't tell anybody. So I did it. I got the job, and once I got the job, I let everybody know, hey, I'm leaving in a couple weeks to California. And that's where God sent me. And it's funny because I've mentioned before that California was one of the places I told God I did not want to go, but you go where you're sent. So my vow for him is that he sends me and I'll go. And so I'm so glad I went to California, because that's where I found my relationship. That's where my relationship was built with God. But you have to not be afraid to move for employment, especially if you're in a location where you're not able to find a job. You have to be flexible enough to move, and I'm to that point here in Texas now. I lost my current position, and if it requires me moving, my vow to God is send me, I'll go. Because I told God I didn't want to live in Texas either, but I relocated here. It wasn't for employment, because during that time I had just lost my position in California due to the pandemic. So that wasn't why I moved to Texas, but it was a friend. That's a whole different story. So I relocated here to Texas, and I've been working remote ever since. So I'm to the point now, I'm really focusing on getting my business off the ground. So check out my books. I'm a writer. I write. God speaks, I write. So I enjoy working with people. I met a diverse group of people, and my thing is, where God send me, I'll go. North Dakota is a place that I looked into at one point, but the only reason I couldn't really be serious about that, because being visually impaired, I rely on public transportation, and so wherever I go to, I need to have reliable transportation, i.e. Uber now, because when I went to California, Uber wasn't a thing. I'm so grateful for it now, but they had, because I was in Sacramento, they had ADA, which I used in Georgia, which is accessible transportation that will pick me up from home and take me to work. And there's other issues with that, but transportation is a big thing for me wherever I choose to go. So North Dakota is somewhere that I looked into at one point, and you can't be afraid to leave your family. I can tell you, as somebody that left Georgia for California, I went from just there being black and white people. I would see Hispanic or Mexican people sometimes, to going to California and meeting all types of people from different nationalities. My friend that I initially met there was Vietnamese, and I wasn't familiar with Vietnamese people. So you can't be afraid to get out of your bubble. You don't know what God has in store for you when you choose to obey him. You don't know what that relocation could lead to. So I totally agree with the lady, and if it requires not telling people you're moving, then don't tell them you're moving. Just do it. If it's a God thing, confirm with him. That's what I did, and he prepared the way. When I relocated to California, the job provided my relocation fees and all of that. They bought my plane ticket. They, gave me funds to relocate, and this was pre-COVID, guys. Over 10 years ago. So I'm sure things are different now, because I've been applying for different positions, and it's definitely different now. But if it's from God and that's what you're supposed to do, then he's gonna make a way. And like I said, they paid for my relocation. And once I got out there, my mom, she came with me, and she even moved out there shortly, a couple of months after I did. So she's back in Georgia now, but for that time being, that worked for us. You don't know what God's gonna do through your obedience, and I mentioned before, delayed obedience is disobedience. You don't know what blessing you're missing if you refuse to be flexible. You have to, especially now, it's hard to get a job. Everybody's trying to get a job. So I've watched so many videos of people being laid off and fired, and so you definitely gonna have to be flexible. You may not be able to find a job where you live currently. You don't know what opportunity awaits if you just take that leap of faith and move. You don't know what God has for you, so don't be afraid to follow. If God leads, follow. So that's what I want to leave you guys with. I hope that encourages you. Let God lead you in what you do, and take care. I'm out.